What's up guys, Mogs with Maker Watch Company. And today we're going to cover pressure casting for epoxy resins. So here's what you're going to need. Resin. We're using Alumilite Clear Slow, a silicone or HDPE mold. We're doing a cast for a client today. It's a hybrid, so we're going to use stabilized wood and we're going to pour some epoxy in there as well. We also use silicone molds. Whatever mold you choose, it's up to you. You're going to need a pressure pot. This is a retrofitted paint pot. We'll leave a couple links in the description to people who will show you how to change your paint pot into a pressure pot for resin casting. You can spend money on a really expensive pressure pot that is already set up, but this is sort of the economical route to go. Pretty sure this was $120, $130, I think. It's on Amazon. We'll leave a link to it. You'll need one of those, and you're gonna need a compressor. Any mold you use or anything you put in, you're generally going to want to heat up. The resin heats as it cures, so if there's a big temperature difference between whatever you're putting your resin in and the resin itself as it's heating up, there will be moisture and it could affect the color of your resin. It could generally cause issues with the curing of the material. So heat your molds. Also, have a timer handy because there's an open time of 12 minutes. So you're going to want to pay attention to that as the resin starts to cure as you get closer to that open time. You need a scale too. Maybe not one so small, but you definitely need a scale. You're going to need a container to mix your resin in, and you're going to need something to mix your resin. Popsicle stick for the win. Today we're also going to be using some pink pigment, so we're going to throw that in the resin too. Utensil to take pigment out. So make sure you check what your resin requires in terms of whether you need to measure by volume or whether you need to measure by weight. For the longest time I was getting the two mixed up. It could definitely impede your final product. It will be likely much softer than you anticipated. So make sure you follow the directions that whatever resin you guys decide to use calls for. For Alumilite, we're mixing by volume, which I prefer because you can be really accurate. In small amounts, it's easy to do. It's really hard to pour small amount of volume. Something by weight is great. That's why we use Alumilite. It also cures really quick. We're gonna pour side A first. No reason. And we're gonna use, I'm estimating here, 51.61. So that's side A. Then side B. Okay, 51.6. Remember that. Oh, timer starts as well when that, whoop, 51.6. 51. Holy, 51.8. It's okay. I think I heard this from Zach Higgins. I'll also link Zach Higgins in the description because definitely have a great wealth of knowledge from him and Casey at Wine Country Woodworks. Zach is NV Woodworks. They're great channels to follow. That's kind of how we learned. I think Zach was saying if you pour a little bit more of, and I could be wrong here, but it's okay to get a little bit more B in. So generally I pour a tiny, or I start with A, and then I'll pour B after, just in case I go over it a tiny bit. Usually it's not significant. Like 0.5 or 1 gram is like fine with a larger amount of resin. Again, don't quote me on that either, because that could be totally false. We're gonna mix for a little bit here, just because mixing is my hobby. Hand mixing, Nibbin. Hand mixing. None of this machine mixing stuff. You know, there's a process to this. Gotta scrape the sides, scrape the bottom, scrape the everything. Essentially, you don't want to see any differences. You want to see like one uniform thing going on. So no wisps, should be clear. We're gonna add the pigment in now. Usually I like to wear my mask when I'm using pigment, especially it's not like the greatest ventilated area and stuff, but in an effort to keep the video rolling, we're gonna open the pigment. Oh. See? Can you see that dust? The pigment dust? I'll have all kinds of pink in my hair. So we're going to take a good dollop of this because our client, Anthony, wants a pretty dense thing going on here. Pigment is awesome. I'll show you a close-up in a second. It just does some cool stuff. Hopefully not in my lungs as I breathe it in, but I don't know. You could just play with it all day if this stuff didn't harden and cure. Holy, we're at 7 minutes. Okay, I gotta keep moving here. Mix, mix, mix. I really should have done the power mixer, Niven. Really should have. My shoulder is on fire right now. Fuego. All mixed. I'm gonna grab my mold. In this case, again, we're using something like this. Look at that. Holy, can you see that? Holy. Make sure you turn your vacuum pump on. I notoriously forget. Don't do that. It's kind of like a mad rush to get it going. We have 4 minutes left. I'm not trying to make any streaks or anything. I'm not mixing colors, so I can really pour at any time. The mold is warm. Oh yeah, we're using a little piece of wood there. It's natural Manitoba maple burl. It's beautiful. It's got some black spalting on it. So resin's going in. Boop. That looks sick. Oh, what a contrast that is. This thing is gonna be beautiful. This guy, Biotones. You, my friend, have a nice watch coming up. This is one of my favorites already. You guys saw me pour the resin. I have 1 minute and 45 seconds left. All right, so I'm just gonna move the resin around a little bit just to give it some character. So pressure pot on lock, cast in. You definitely feel the resin getting warm now, because that's what it do. Okay. Just try and screw it down evenly. The timer's gone. Oh no! Hey. Hey. Okay. Compressor. Connected. Okay, so a couple things I forgot to mention as I was in a rush. Bet you thought that was a machine or something, didn't you? That might have been a record fart right there. Okay, so a couple things I forgot to mention. Number one, you're going to want to set your compressor to a little bit higher PSI than you plan to fill up on the tank, because then the compressor will cut out and work to try and keep that pressure, and you'll lose some time in filling your tank. Pay attention to the max PSI on your tank. That's super important. Definitely never go over what the company suggests, just for safety reasons. You never want to be in a situation where it pops off and you're in a shitty situation. So just pay special attention. I cut it always a little bit short of the max PSI as per the tank instructions. Some tanks go up to, I think, like 80 PSI. This one only goes up to 50, so we cut it just at 50 or a little bit under. Plus we have our safety valves functioning and everything on the tank, so if the tank goes over a certain PSI, that valve should pop and take out the pressure. So yeah, turn everything down evenly, make sure your seal's good. Probably want to do all that ahead of time. You might want to lube up that gasket in there every now and then. I'm gonna leave this in here overnight. I think that's it. Hope you guys learned something from this, if anything at all. Thanks for spending your time here viewing this right now.